Manners to be observed by teachers and students. These manners comprise 10 duties. The first duty of a student is to keep himself free from impure habits and evil matters. Efforts to acquire knowledge is the worship of the mind. It purifies secret faults and takes to God. Prayer is observed by outward organs, as outward purity is not gained except by outward organs. So worship by mind, the fountainhead of acquisition of knowledge, cannot be attained without the removal of bad habits and evil attributes. The Prophet said, religion is founded on cleanliness, so outward and inward purities are necessary. God says the polytheists are impure in 9:28. It is understood from this that purity and impurity are not merely external, as the polytheists also keep their dresses clean and their bodies clean, but their mind is impure, so they are generally impure. The inward purity is of greater importance. The Prophet therefore said, angels do not enter a house wherein there are dogs. A human mind is a house, and the abode of angels their place of movement. The blameworthy evils like anger, lust, envy, pride, and the likes are like dogs. These dogs reside in the heart. Where is the place for the angels? God takes the secret of knowledge to the hearts through the angels. They do not take it except to the pure souls. Hazrat Ibn Abbas and Ibn Mas'ud said, knowledge is not acquired through much learning. It is the light cast in the heart. A certain sage said, knowledge is the fear of God, as God said, the learned amongst the people fear God the most. Number 2, the second duty of a student is to reduce his worldly affairs and keep aloof from kith and kin, as acquisition of knowledge is not possible in these environments. For this reason a certain sage said, God has not gifted 2 minds to a man. For this reason a certain saint said, knowledge will not give you its full share till you surrender your entire mind to it. The third duty of a student is not to take pride or exalt himself over the teacher, but rather entrust to him the conduct of all of his affairs and submit to his advice as a patient submits to the physician. The Prophet said, it is the habit of a believer not to flatter anyone except when he seeks knowledge. Therefore, a student should not take pride over his teacher. Knowledge cannot be acquired except through modesty and humility. God said, herein there is a warning for one who has got a heart or sets up ear while he himself is being a witness. 50:36. The meaning of having a heart is to be fit for receiving knowledge, and the one who is prepared and capable of understanding knowledge. Whatever the teacher should recommend to the student should follow it, putting aside his own opinion. The people should question only in the matter which the teacher permits him. Here there is an instance of Moses and Khizr. Khizr said, you will not ask me anything that I do. Still Moses asks him questions, and for that he separated from Moses. Number 4, the fourth duty of a student is that he should first pay no attention to the difference whether about worldly science or science of the hereafter, as it may perplex his mind and he may lose enthusiasm. He should adopt first what the teacher says and should not argue about the differences between mazhabs and sects. Number 5, the fifth duty of a student should not miss any branch of knowledge. He should try to become perfect in them, as all the branches of learning help one another and some branches are allied with another. If a man does not get a thing, it becomes his enemy. God says, when they do not find guidance, they say it is an age-long lie. 46:10. A poet said, a sweet thing is bitter in the mouth of a patient, as sweet water is tasteless to a sick man. Good knowledge is acquired according to one's genius. It leads man to God and helps him in that way. Each branch of knowledge has got its fixed place. He who guards it is like a guard who patrols the frontiers of jihad. Each has got a rank in it, and each has got a reward in the hereafter according to its rank. The only condition required is that the object of acquisition of knowledge should be to please God. The sixth duty of a student is that he should not take up all the branches of knowledge at a time, but should take up the most important one first, as life is not sufficient for all branches of knowledge. A little learning, if acquired with enthusiasm, perfects knowledge of the hereafter, or the science of the worldly usage and the science of revelation. The object of science of the worldly usages is to acquire spiritual knowledge. The goal of spiritual knowledge is to know God. Our object by this knowledge is not that belief which is handed down from the generations to generations. Our object for this knowledge is to acquire light arising out of certain faiths which God casts in soul. Such a light was acquired by Hazrat Abu Bakr. The Prophet said about Abu Bakr, if the faith of people in the entire world is weighed with the faith of Abu Bakr, his faith would be heavier. In short, the highest and the noblest of all sciences is to know God. This science is like a sea of which the depth cannot be determined. In this science, the highest rank is that of the prophets, and then the friends of God, and finally to those who follow them. It has been narrated that the portraits of two ancient wise men were seen on the wall of a mosque. One of them held a piece of paper in which it is written, if you purify everything, don't understand that you have even purified one thing till you know God, and you know that God is the cause of all causes and the creator of everything. In the hand of the second man there was a scroll in which it was written, I removed thirst before my drinking water, and then I have come to know God. But when I have come to know God, my thirst was quenched without any water. Seventh duty of a student is that he should not take up a new branch of learning till he has learnt fully the previous branch of learning, because it is requisite for the acquisition of knowledge. One branch of knowledge is a guide to another branch. God says, those who have been given the Quran recite it with due recitation. 2:15. In other words, he does not take up one learning till he masters the previous one. Hazrat Ali said, don't conceal truth from men, rather know the truth, then you will know the master of the truths. Number 8. The eighth duty of a student is to know the causes of which noble sciences are known. It can be known from two things, nobility of its fruits and the authenticity of its principles. Take, for example, the science of religion as medicine. The fruit of the science of religion is to gain an eternal life. The fruit of the other is to gain a temporary life. From this point of view, the science of religion is more notable. As a result, it is more noble. Take up mathematics and astrology, and the former is nobler because the former is more authentic. That is, mathematics is more authentic in its foundations. From this, it is clear that the science of the knowledge of God, His angels, His books, and His prophets is the most noble, and also the branch of knowledge which helps it. The ninth duty of a student is to purify his mind and actions with virtue, to gain proximity to God and His angels, and to live in company of those who live near God. Those who live near God. His aim should not be to gain worldly pleasures, to acquire riches or properties, to argue with illiterate, and to show pride and haughtiness. He whose object is to gain nearness to God should seek such learning as helps towards that goal, namely the knowledge of the hereafter and the learnings which are auxiliary to it. God said, God will raise herewith in rank who are believers and to whom knowledge has been given. 58:11. God said, they have got stages, some lower, some higher. The highest rank is that of the prophets, and then the friends of God, and then the learned who are firm in knowledge, and then of the pious who follow them. Number 10. The 10th duty of a student is that he should keep attention to primary objects of knowledge. It is not in your power to enjoy bliss in this world and that in the next together. This world is a temporary resting place. Body is a conveyance, and the actions run towards the goal. The goal is God and nothing else. All bliss and happiness lie in Him. So give importance to sciences which take you to that ultimate goal. There are three kinds of learning. One kind of learning is like the purchase of commodities in a journey. These are sciences of medicine, law, fiqh, and all other sciences which keep connection with the welfare of people in this world. Number 2, another class of learning is like the science of traveling in the desert and overcoming obstacles. They purify the mind from evil traits and take it to a high place that does not fall to the lot of many except those whom God shows favor. The third kind of knowledge is like the knowledge of the pilgrimage, its rules and regulations. This is the science of the knowledge of God, His attributes, and the knowledge of the actions of the angels. This is the knowledge which cannot be gained except by agnostics who are close to God. Those who are lower in rank than them will get also salvation. God says, as for one who is the nearest to God, there is happiness, bounty, and garden of bliss for him. But as for one who is of the companions of the right hand, there is peace for him as well. 56:87. There is a certain truth which they perceived through contemplations. This is more clear than seeing with the eyes. They are confirmed in their faith after seeing for themselves. Others, like those who have got faith but without contemplation and without seeing in with their own eyes. By the soul, I don't mean heart made up of the flesh. It is a subtle or a secret essence which the body senses fail to perceive. It is a spiritual substance for God and has been described sometimes by nafs, sometimes by qalb. The material heart is a vehicle for spiritual essence, to remove the veil from it, as it belongs to the science of revelation, a science which is upheld by man, and there is no permission to discuss it. What is permissible is the discussion that it is a precious jewel and belongs to the world of the spirit and not to the world of matter. God says, they ask you about the soul, say that the soul proceeds from the command of my Lord. 1787. The connection of the soul with God is nobler than that of all bodily limbs. To God belongs the creation, and the command is the most precious thing which can carry the trust of God. It is nobler than the heaven and the earth, and that they contain, as the earth refused to bear the trust of the fear because of the fear of the spiritual world. It has come from God and it will return to God. It is the spiritual substance which drives towards God. Jazakallah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.